He was the 18th defenseman picked in that draft. The 18th.
Wow.
Like, if he's the first overall guy, okay, he's 18th. 13 of those guys haven't played a game yet.
On the young defenseman thing, I think that everyone's going to be understanding of this young man being thrown into the fire, but we've seen, Pete and I use the term la-la landed, when people go from very excited about something to, you know what? Everyone's too happy. Let's point out what's wrong with this thing and be real assholes about it. This happens with young defensemen. I've kind of done it all the time with my guy, Mason Lowry, where I'm like very excited about him, but he's a young defenseman and he's going to make mistakes. So you just have to be okay about that. I would say I'm not an asshole about Mason Lowry. I think that I just don't get carried away, but I'm seeing a lot of people be actual assholes about like the Lane Hutsons of the world, of like, oh, you all get so horny about these young defensemen. Don't you know they're going to fuck up all the time? To which I say, don't you know they're going to fuck up all? We all know, like, fucking cool it. They're kids playing defense in the NHL. How do you, as someone who's been on a coaching staff, like, how do you feel about the young defensemen in the NHL and maybe the treatment that they get in each direction?
It's hard because when you look at an 18, 19, 20-year-old player in the National Hockey League, look at how a forward adapts. Connor Bedard, throw him over the boards, just skate. Like, just skate. You don't think he made incredibly bad defensive decisions in the offensive zone? He was horrific, but no one cared. Like, because it doesn't automatically end up as a goal on the board against you when a forward makes a mistake. It's easier to adapt to the NHL for high-skilled forwards. It just is.
I have to push back on you real quick. Sorry to interrupt. I have to push back on you that nobody cared, because last year your good pal Craig Morgan brought me on your show, PHNX, and asked me if I thought that Connor Bedard's Calder candidacy would be affected by his fucking plus minus. So people did care. People talk about Brock Faber as the rookie of the year last year. So I just wanted to clear that up. People cared.
No, you're right. That's fair. Craig cared. There's no question about the plus minus.
People didn't care. Craig cared.
Craig cared. Yeah, I don't give a shit. But you're right. To adjust as a defenseman, you're looking, and Lane Hutson is the perfect example. Dude is 5'9", 160 pounds. What do you want him to do? Do you think the Montreal Canadiens drafted him to look, hey, let's check out his plus minus 5 games into his career? Hell no. The Montreal Canadiens stink. They're look at where their goals against them. They're 27th. Boston was 20th. They're 27th against. So we're gonna lay that tag on Lane Hutson. It's his fault. Go look at the goals that they're giving up with Lane Hutson on the ice. They're not defensive zone mistakes where he is making a grievous error in his reads. They are Lane Hutson taking the puck in the offensive blue line, trying to create offense. He's going up into the play. He's getting around the net. He's taking a shot at the net. Puck turns over and is going back the other way. That is what you get Lane Hutson for. His offensive upside, he looks so smooth up there the way he walks the blue lines. Yes, it's not clicking yet. Walks the blue line really well, distributes the puck really well. I think his shot needs to improve a little bit, but I like the kid offensively. Go look at the Montreal Canadiens top 6 and see if you can name them. It's not Larry Robinson and Ken Dryden back there. Like, this is Samuel Montembeault. And then look at the rest of the roster. This is so hard at 20 to play against the fastest players in the world and read a rush in less than a second, literally in less than a second. You have to decide where you're going to go and who you're going to cover. That's incredible. That takes so much time. Defensive zone reads, he's 7 games into a new system that he played for 2 years in college, where the pace was incredibly slow. Talent wasn't nearly as high, and he had time to adjust and make those plays. Now you're in the National Hockey League. Don't have time to think. You haven't practiced enough. They get practice time this week. But those defensemen, you have to think too quickly, so it has to happen automatic, and it can't happen automatic if you've played 7 games. So young defensemen in this league take a very long time to develop. There are the odd player. Adam Fox adjusted incredibly quickly. Even Quinn Hughes, the offense was there, but it takes time to defend. Jacob Chikrin in Arizona, up-and-coming stud. He got 20 goals in his first few years as a defenseman there, but he still couldn't read the rush. He still couldn't defend. Now you look at him, now he can do those things. It just takes time. So please back off on Lane Hutson. A kid's going to be a great player for a very long time, and his numbers are going to be elite as soon as they get people around him in the defensive 6 that make sense and fit, and they don't have that yet.
Hey, thanks for watching the channel.
We appreciate everybody who checks out our stuff, but 80% of our viewers are not actually subscribed to this page, so if you could smash that subscribe button, it would go a very long way for us.
The more subscriptions we have, the more visibility we get from YouTube, which allows us to do more.
So press that button. Thank you.
I like this kid. I like him.
So what do you need for him? Who do you put next to him? What kind of player ideally is skating with Lane Hutson?
Well, it's funny. It's one of the guys that I was Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I like in Arizona, who went to Florida and did the right thing. He was no longer the star player, but he knows how the mentality of a star player. He understands the offensive side of it, so he can keep up with the pace. But he can also defend, and I think you need a more experienced guy. You can't put Luke Schenn with him. Like that's not going to work. Luke Schenn and Lane Hutson's. Luke, and no offense to Luke, another just hit 1,000 games. He's going to be back in the defensive zone, and Luke Hudson's going to be attacking the net on the other end of the ice. Won't work. You do need a more experienced guy that has been around, that doesn't need to be the guy that gets all the touches anymore. And I think Lane's going to be great.
Yeah, the only issue that I've had with Lane is the one the other night against Riley Smith, where he just got caught twiddling his thumbs and got pickpocketed. But
yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah,
but again, that's experience again, though, Pete. You look at a guy that he's supposed to be, in his mind, I'm the offensive guy. I got to lug the puck all the way up the ice. Can't do that anymore. Like, he's got to move that puck. That puck has to move before he gets to the blue line. He'll learn that now. He won't make that same mistake, hopefully, again in the next few games. He'll make it again 10 games from now, but hopefully he doesn't do it in the near future. You're right. Those kind of turnovers cannot happen. I don't know if the coach hit him when he got back to the bench or not. We didn't get the film on it, because a turnover like that and a 20-year-old, we might object to the abuse and the assault.
How much of the Lane Hutson discourse and criticism do you think stems from him playing in Montreal? Because it does seem like, say again, sorry.
Yeah, it's for sure it is. If he's in Toronto or Montreal, you're getting. If he's in Utah or Carolina, come on. First of all, no one even knows he's in the league if he's in those teams. Like, he doesn't. Columbus? Do you think anybody knows Lane Hutson turning over the puck at the blue line in Columbus? No. If a tree falls,
famously, you wouldn't be playing. They'd be David Jiricek.
That's true. You'd be in Cleveland.
Yeah. I'll say though, like, I follow a lot of Montreal people, and I love the Montreal media. I don't get too much sensationalism off them. I mainly am seeing people preemptively pushing back against Lane Hutson or trying to make this case as to why we're overrating him. And I'm like, we're not overrating shit, man. We're just excited that this team that we should all want to be good for the NHL's sake has a very exciting player. Like, are we not allowed to do that anymore?
Yeah, I think Canadiens fans have been so down in the dumps for a couple of years at this point that they see a good young player coming up and they're saying, I can't wait to watch this guy. Not like this is the savior that's going to bring us to the cup this year. And I feel like the pushback against that has been like, oh, you thought this was your savior? This is your king? And it's like, no, we just want to watch
Be
him.
Nice.
Yeah.
I say this to my beloved Canadiens friends.
Bruins fans, be nice to Canadiens
We come in
fans.
peace for you, okay? And I think the Canadiens fans are getting too much shit over this guy, and Lane Hutson is certainly getting shit. I love the behavior from Brady Tkachuk doing the I'm Lane Hutson kind of thing. Do that shit all day. That shows that he's on to you, and that he's keeping an eye out for you. He's watching some of your shit. But every time a young defenseman who's 1 inch tall messes up, people are like, oh, you thought he was going to be good? Yeah, we still do.
Yeah. He was the 18th defenseman picked in that draft. The 18th.
Wow.
If he's the first overall guy, okay, he's 18th. 13 of those guys haven't played a game yet. One of them is Maverick Lamoureux. Relax. My God, I do get it. If your first overall expectations are high, you're asking us to lean. Yeah, you better make an impact. Dude's a late second round pick. Relax. He should be in the minors. He should be. Kevin Korchinski got drafted ahead of him. He's down in the minors right now, and he's developing, and he's going to be a great defenseman as well. So he's getting a baptism by fire in the National Hockey League.
We all silly like the mayor.